Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Real Hazardous. Really excited today because today is the first time I get to go fly fishing. And on top of that, I get to fly fish for rainbow trout. It's a really beautiful fish. It's a fish I've always wanted to catch, and it looks like I'm gonna knock off 2 bucket list items in the same day. So we're at this pond that gets stocked with rainbow trout. It's a really great place to start fly fishing because, well, the pond's stocked with trout, so I know there are trout here. It's not like I'm in some new stream or creek or something where I gotta find the fish. You know, maybe the rainbow trout are migrating somewhere, I don't know. This is the first time catching them, so it's nice to at least know that the fish are in this fairly small pond, so I can focus on my fly fishing technique and throwing the fly and bringing the fly in. Being a first-time fly fisherman, it was really tough. There's a lot of hard habits I had to overcome. See, when you're fly fishing, you're not casting a lure. Like if I was fishing for reds in the river, had a spinning rod or a bait caster, got a heavy plug on it, you just throw it, right? Like throwing a baseball. You got this heavy weight, you throw it, let it go. Well, fly fishing, for those of you who don't know, you're throwing the line. The line is where the weight is, and you've got like a tiny little fly with a little leader. You know, there's not enough weight to it to throw it, so you're throwing the line. So it's where you start seeing the guys, you know, start loading, you know, their fly rod. You know, when they start, look to me, it's, I say, whipping it up and down and back and forth and then sending it out, okay? So I'm trying to learn all this stuff. Mike set us up on the trip. Mike's a really great fisherman, done all kinds of fishermen, really good at fly fishing. So he's showing me kind of how to do it. A lot to it, getting the technique down, keeping that tip up, and then letting the, you know, line go. So it took about the whole day just for me to get, I don't know, halfway decent. But it was fun, a good learning experience, and I did catch some fish.
5-weight rod, 5-weight line, so they match up. The leader is 6 foot of 10-pound string. You either fit string or vicious fluorocarbon. It's probably on this one here, it's probably vicious fluorocarbon. And there's your fly. See that? That's a barbless hook too. As long as you keep the pressure on it, it stays right in there most of the time. Now remember me telling you about the rod before? Watch where it goes.
Right.
See how I can push that fish around with this rod coming back? Whoop, almost. Wait there a little further. There we go.
Mike tied these custom little flies. He tied them himself, just black, kind of tiny flies. And they kind of look, I guess they kind of mimic like a tadpole. Whatever the case, the fish really liked them. We caught quite a few fish. It was me, my dad, Mike, and Taylor. We were all using these flies, and between all of us, we caught quite a few fish.
Okay, let's fly fish. Got a nice custom hand-tied fly that Mike tied. He taught me to paint the ceiling, kind of like a Mr. Miyagi thing. I'm not throwing the lure, I'm throwing the line, which is a bit different. And it's going to take me some getting used to. Slowly pulling it through the water.
Here's what you did to get your rod back.
Okay.
You bent your wrist.
Okay. Just use your whole arm?
The whole arm. It comes back. There's your midpoint.
Okay.
If you go this far forward, you go that far back.
Gotcha. Let me try that.
There you go.
Ada, can you bring in the net? Bring him back one more time. We got him. There you go. I got the camera going. Yeah, just turn loose.
Okay, so I'm fishing about an hour or so. I think I'm getting the throwing down pat. It's funny how different this is than like casting a spinning reel, offshore fishing, stuff like that, or even bass fishing, spinning reel or something.
A couple other things that were different about fly fishing as opposed to regular fishing. We're not setting the hook like this. You know, you normally fish bites, pull back on the rod, set the hook. I'm actually pointing my tip down and feeding the rod, you know, pulling the lure, I should say, not feeding the rod, pulling the lure, pulling the line. And when a fish hits it, you take the line and you set it with the line, you kind of pull back on the line and that sets the hook. Fly rods they just don't have the same action as like a normal bait casting rod or some spinning rod. You're not bass fishing.
All right, guys, it is lunchtime, and we just made a pretty good discovery. Might be why I'm not catching fish. The rod and reel I was using, as you can see right there, the line is floating. And this one, he just gave me a different one. This one sinks. That's good because the fish are down deep. So if that line's not sinking, that might be why I'm not catching fish.
Obviously, Mike and Taylor are pretty good at it, and they were catching fish, and even my dad started catching fish, but I was like not catching fish. I'm like, what's the deal? Am I so bad? And funny thing was, what we realized was that reel had new line on it, and sometimes you get this line, it's got some stuff on it, I don't know, some kind of coating or something. And what Mike told me is what they'll do is when they get it, they actually soak it in detergent to clean it off. And what we found was, because for whatever reason mine still had that stuff on it, it wasn't sinking. And see, it needs to sink down because the rainbow trout were kind of deep. Ideally, I should have thrown it, the line would have sank down in my fly, and then I would have slowly started working it in. I would just take my fly line, I just pulled it in like this with my wrist, just, you know, kind of consistently feeding. I'm not rushing in, just a steady pull.
All right, guys, right after lunch, feeling good. Got some energy back. Got a different rod and reel setup with a heavier line that sinks. When I switched to that heavier one, I got some bites right off the bat. It was getting down low, and that's where the fish are down deep. Might have been why I wasn't catching anything earlier. So we're gonna get back to it and see what we can do. Had a bite, just had a bite. Oh, there we go, there we go. Hey Dad, you get the net? Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
So how's that feel?
It's good. That's pretty cool. Feel it, like he bumped it, like, oh dang, so I kept pulling, then boom, he hit it and I set and yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. Worked right according to plan.
The one I caught before, it's got a little mark on it, right?
Sorry. Hi.
Elusive stickfish.
Are those good to eat, or are they kind of bony?
A little, they crunch a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to add a lot of salt. Yeah, we're probably gonna need a net on this one. All right, get ready to get him. There you go.
All right, guys. So it's the afternoon. Mike just had a really nice one. Dad just had one. Still picking them up, getting some hits. It's working much better having this line that sinks. So still getting the casting down, but it'll just take a little time to practice.
Question I always had too was, you know, you've got all this line at your feet. I'm like, well, you know, when a fish hooks up, what am I supposed to do with all that line? I mean, if I just start reeling, everything will go loose.
But you can take the reel and slap it like that.
Yeah.
See that line come up?
Oh, right.
Now you got him up on that way and you can turn it. And you're fighting him this way. If he takes off, just turn it loose.
There we go.
Mine is now, finally.
Yeah.
Only had to punch it 4 times.
Hey, you learning that?
Yeah.
I see you learning all kind of stuff today. Boy,
There we
this
go.
is good.
Yeah. There we go. He's decent size, yeah. There we go. Yeah. PB.
Breaking records all day.
He's off on the reel.
Yeah.
Back up.
All right. There we go. There we go, guys.
No monster, but
Yeah.
he still counts.
That was pretty cool. He hit it and I missed him. I was like, dang. So I thought about bringing it in, so I just let it drop. All of a sudden it took off and he was on.
We're at 19
19.
total for today.
Wow.
These rainbow trout are really pretty. They got that cool color to them. It's pretty neat to be able to catch them, you know, in this pond. It's really fun. It's a great place to practice. You know, really good way to get hooked on fly fishing. You know, it'd be fun to try this too on some other fish. You know, I could see offshore, tuna or even skipjack, you know, fighting those kind of fish on it, catching them. I bet they would love a little fly like that. And we use like little flies when we troll in the keys or on the humps, these little black feathers. So I could imagine something similar would work well offshore.
There we go. There we go. It's a good one. Well, guys, we had a fun day on the water today. Mike and Taylor put us on some really good fish, showed us how to fly fish, me and my dad. So we caught some rainbow trout, something I've always wanted to do. Finally can say I've done it. Plus, fly fishing. 2 things never got to do: catch rainbow trout and fly fish. Definitely learned a lot. Still got a ways to go, but it feels good to get the somewhat basics down. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys learned something and enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on our next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.